Hey all you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNI toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the first two sets being released by DC Collectibles for their new Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. Now these are 2 packs. They are being sold as Gamestop exclusives. They're based on the Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie. And the first 2 sets being released, which are hitting store shelves now, are the Batman and Leonardo and Robin and Raphael. And you can see they come in pretty generic looking packaging. You've just got the black window boxes. The figures are clearly displayed. Down below you've got the Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo and the names of the characters. On the side of the packaging, you've got turtle shells and you've got some credits for the folks who worked on these figures. So the DC figures were both sculpted by Paul Harding, and the 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures in this set were sculpted by Jonathan Matthews. And then on the back of the packaging, you've got a brief bio about the series, and then the 2 figures in each set. And then down below you've got to look at all the other figures that are being released in this line. And again, all of these will be released as GameStop exclusives. Okay, let's get these open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside the packaging along with their other contents. And they have packed these pretty full with accessories. Now, starting with Batman, he comes with a total of 4 sets of hands. So you get the pair of closed-fisted hands that are attached to the figure when you take it out of the packaging. And then you get these 3 alternate sets of hands, all with various types of grips for holding the other accessories that he comes with. Then you get his Batarang. That's done with a black plastic with the gray trim. There's no articulation on that. This circle thing with the bat symbol on it, I believe, is a communicator, if I remember correctly. Then you get a grapple gun and 2 grapples, and one of the grapples is more open than the other. The grapples do slide into the front of the gun. They don't fire out or anything, but you can slide them in there. So they are removable. You've just got a little hole there on the front. So that's pretty nice. And again, that's just done with the gray plastic. And then for Batman, finally, you get this slice of pizza. And each figure does appear to come with a slice of pizza, and that actually does play a role in the movie. Then moving on to Leonardo, he comes with a total set of 3 different pairs of hands. So you've got the closed fist, and then you've got an open pair of hands, and then a pair of grip hands for holding his swords. He does come with his classic katana swords, and then the sheath to hold both of them. And again, he also comes with a slice of pizza. Then moving on to the second set for Robin, first of all, we get this Gotham City manhole cover, and this is something that does appear in the movie, but there's not much you can really do with this. So to me, I don't know, this is really not much of a needed accessory. It would be different if it acted like a figure stand, but it doesn't. It does have these holes in it, but there's no pegs or anything, and the feet on the figures don't actually have peg holes. So again, there's not much you can really do with that. Also, it looks kind of like a waffle to me, but it does say Gotham City on there. He comes with a slice of pizza. He comes with his bow staff, both extended and then one that's not extended. So that's nice. He comes with a grapple gun like with Batman and 2 grapples, and again the grapples will fit into the gun. He comes with 2 Batarangs, and then he comes with 3 pairs of hands, so 2 sets of grip hands and then a pair of closed-fisted hands. And then finally he comes with 2 head sculpts. So you've got the unhooded head sculpt, and then they've included this hooded one as well, so that's pretty nice. And then finally for Raphael, he comes with 3 pairs of hands, so he's got the closed-fisted hands, and then basically 2 sets of grip hands. He comes with his psi weapons, he comes with a slice of pizza, and then he also comes with an alternate head. And if I remember correctly, at one point in the movie, him and Robin are riding around in a motorcycle, and the motorcycle has a sidecar, and he's wearing this helmet when they do that, so I believe that's what this is based on. Now, when storing the Turtles' weapons on the figures themselves, for Leonardo, his sheath actually attaches to the side of his belt as opposed to his back like you generally see. So with that, there's just a little thing that sticks out on the sheath there, and then he's got a hole on his belt, and you just plug that in. Now the belt is a separate piece, so I guess if you wanted to, you could slide the blades underneath the belt there so you could have it on his back. I don't remember. I assume this is how he had it in the cartoon, where he actually had the swords on the side. It does make it a little awkward because it's kind of hard to have his arms down by his side when he's got those swords sticking out there, but I assume if that was how it was in the cartoon, not something that they did for the figures only. And then for Raphael, he's got these two holes on the back of his belt, and as best I can tell, you're just supposed to slide one of the ends of the side there in there, and they just kind of fit on there like that. And you can see here, again, if you want to put the swords on the back of Leonardo, you can just slide them in the belt like that. Now here's a look at Raphael with the alternate helmeted head sculpt, which looks pretty good. He's got the open mouth expression and everything. And then for Robin here, I'm going to show you. So you get the, with the unhooded head, you get this separate hood piece. So to switch out the head, you just pop it off there. It attaches with a little ball joint. And you probably want to take that extra piece off there because you won't need it. And then you just pop on the head. And that's a look at Robin with the hooded head on there. Now one thing I want to note on the Robin figure, you'll notice it looks like there's a glue spot or something on the back of the figure's cape. And there's actually two little indentations there. And then on this pulled back hood piece, there's actually two holes. So I almost wonder if they're originally going to put some tabs or something on the cape and that would hold this piece in place. It's not really needed, so I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. But that's almost what that reminds me of. And here's a look at the Batman figure, and I've got him holding a few of his accessories. So I'm using the tighter grip hand for the Batarang, and then this is the looser grip hand, which I'm using to hold the grapple gun. And then you'll probably want to use those really wide grip hands for holding things like the pizza and the communicator. Now, one thing I want to note as far as getting Raphael to hold his weapons, so, Raphael can hold his weapons just by holding them in his hand normally like this. Or you'll notice on these tighter grip hands, there's actually holes between his fingers. And that would make you think that the idea would be that you could slide the blade through those holes so that he could hold the blade, essentially having it through it between his fingers, kind of like you see with this hand. But it actually does not seem to work very well. The handle, when you slide that blade through that hole, does not actually fit in the hand very well. So if you want him to hold the sai, like having it between his fingers, then I would recommend that you use the wider grip hands and just stick the blade between the two fingers there. That actually works much better. Okay, so now let's take a closer look at the figures themselves, and we'll start off looking at the two DC comic based figures with Batman and Robin. And first of all, I've got to say the scale between the two is pretty good. And as I said, these are based on the animated movie for Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that's what these are supposed to be, capturing that animation style. And overall, I think they do a pretty good job. You've got the black markings throughout the figures. You've got more on Batman than on Robin. He does have the black marks on his face, like with his eyebrows or where his eyes are kind of squinting. He's got the mask, the green mask with the whited out eyes and everything. The mouths are just kind of drawn on there, and Batman's got the square jaw with the line work there. And you've even got some sculpting detail with his eyebrows, so those kind of stick out a little bit, which is nice. And he's got the whited out eyes as well. He's got the pointy ears. Now this is a pretty hard plastic, so I would recommend caution. You could probably snap these ears off if you're not careful. So, I mean, they're not like going to just break off if you touch them, but if you put them in a bin or something, these would probably snap off. So again, just use caution. He's got the bat symbol that is painted on the figure. He's got the utility belt, which is a separate piece, and the black markings are painted on there on the yellow. And you've got some sculpting detail as well. Those lines are actually sculpted into the belt, which is nice. Basically his shorts are a rubber type material, and they do kind of come down over the legs. Now paint applications are pretty solid. They're basic, very similar to what we see with their Batman the Animated Series line. So Batman, he's got the blue and the grays and the yellows. So all that looks pretty good. I really don't have I haven't seen any real paint splotches on my figures, which is nice. And I like this cape on the Batman figure. I like how it hangs. It is a soft goods cape, but I think it actually, hangs well there on the figure. So I really like what they've done with this cape, and it's just a blue cape, and I'll show it from behind. So I do actually really like that. I don't generally like soft goods capes, but I think this one actually looks pretty good. Now the Robin cape is done with a harder plastic. It is not a soft goods. It's a shorter cape. So that's probably why they went that route. And again, I do think that looks good. Again, you've got the separate hood piece there. He's got his Robin, his R on his chest, which is sculpted. And the belt is a separate piece. And he's got some sculpting detail on his boots. So overall that looks good. Both have the little pointy things on their gloves like we always see with Bat characters. So, and again, basic paint applications, but very solid, really no sloppiness on the paint that I've come across. So I think they've done a pretty good job here with both of these figures. Okay, now on to the turtle figures. And then obviously these are the first time that we've seen DC Collectibles doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. Probably never thought we would see them do these characters, but I've got to say they've done a really awesome job with these two figures. Mainly because you can see how they just look totally different from one another. They didn't just use the same body and give them different colors or what have you. They are totally different sculpts. They are really nicely detailed. In the animated movie, Raphael is and bulkier than what we normally see him as, and they've captured that look very nicely with this figure. You can see he's taller than Leonardo. They have their masks, the red mask for Raphael and the blue for Leonardo, and they have the little tassels that stick out the back, and that's done with a soft plastic. And these are not removable. You can't take these off or anything. And I would, again, like with Batman's mask, I'd use caution because you could probably break these off if you're not careful. They're on there pretty good, but again, if you pull it on them too hard or something, you might break those off. I even like the detailing here on the Raphael head sculpt. You've got a little, you can see like a little nick over his left eye and a cut in his mask there. I believe that's from the cartoon, so I really like that detailing. He's got a little scar over his left eye and even on the bottom there, so really nice detailing with that. You've got the shells, which are separate pieces on the back. Now they are the same colors, different sizes, but they are the same colors. The skin tone is different though between the two. You've got a brighter green for Leonardo, and then you've got more of an olive type green for Raphael. You've got different elbow and shoulder pads. You've got more of those kind of samurai shutter type pads for Leonardo, for both the shoulder and the knees. And then you have more football looking pads for Raphael. So, and again, for both the knees and the shoulders. The belts are different. You've got this blue ribbon on Leonardo's belt, and then you've just got some sculpting detail on Raphael's. And then you've got some extra sculpting detail on the back of Raphael's belt. So I like that. And you've got the hard shell on the front there with the cream color. Again, same cream color between the two. Only difference in colors is just their skin tone, which again is cartoon accurate, and I really like that. You've got the toes, the two toes, turtle toes, and you've got some sculpting detail with those. And, you know, again, they just did a really nice job with these and really did a good job of differentiating the turtles from one another, at least with these two. And the scale with all four figures is really good. So Batman's the tallest of the four, Robin is the shortest, as he should be, and then you've got Leonardo and Raphael, which is taller than Leonardo, but not quite as tall as Batman. So Batman comes in, if you count to the tips of his ears, just under 7 inches tall. Raphael comes in right around 6 inches tall. The Robin figure comes in a little bit over 5 inches tall. And the Leonardo figure comes in about 5.5 inches tall. Okay, and for some size comparisons, here's a look at DC Collectibles DC Essentials Batman figure with this new one. And both of these figures are actually sculpted by the same person, Paul Harding. And you can see the Essential figure is a little bit taller, but for the most part, they're pretty close to the same height. And then here's a comparison of the DC Collectibles Icons Batman figure, and you can see this new one is taller. Here's a comparison of the NECA Toy Shredder figure from the animated series, and DC Collectibles is going to be giving us our own shredder for this line, but if you wanted to use this as a stand-in, I think the scale between the two actually works pretty good. Now for Robin, here's a comparison of the DC Collectibles DC Icons Robin figure, and you can see this new one is taller. This is a 6-inch scale figure, so it's not surprising that this new one is taller. And then here's a comparison of an older DC Collectibles 7-inch scale Robin figure. This is actually based on one of the regular Batman animated movies that DC Collectibles did figures for. So these two are about the same height, but I definitely like this newer figure over this older one, mainly because the articulation is better on the new figure. Okay, and then on the turtle side of things, I'll give you a comparison. This is the NECA Toys Raphael figure based on the original animated series. So this new Raphael is bulkier looking and taller than that version. So it's not surprising that this new Raphael is taller than the NECA one. And then here's a comparison of the NECA Toys Leonardo from the classic animated series with the new Leonardo. And again, the DC Collectible one is a little bit taller, but these two are closer in height with one. And then finally, once again, here's a comparison of that NECA Toys Shredder from the original animated series with the two new DC Collectible turtle figures. Okay, now for articulation, and we'll start off looking at it on the turtle figures. If you have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive turtle figure they did, the Mikey as Batman, I don't have that figure, but I imagine the articulation is very similar. These are more limited in regards to articulation than their DC counterparts, but you know, they're not too bad. So we'll start off, and you can turn the head to the left and to the right, and you really get no down movement. You get a little bit of up movement, but really you can just look straight ahead. You really can't look back. Then with the arm, you can get the arm out pretty good there. You can get it pretty straight. You've got good rotation there at the shoulder, but you do not have a bicep swivel. You have rotation at the elbow. You get a single hinged elbow, so it can only bend the elbow about that much there. You've got the hands where you can rotate. Well, they're attached to ball joints in there, so you do get some up and down movement depending on how you turn that ball joint. So that's not too bad. And then they do have midsection joints, but because of the shells which are solid pieces on both the front and the back, there's really not much you can do with that. So it's kind of a pointless joint, and you get a little bit of rotation, but again, because of the shells, you really don't get a whole lot of rotation there at the waist. And then with the legs, they can do the splits pretty good. You can get the leg forward about that much. You can do the leg out and back. You do not have a thigh swivel. The legs attached with ball joints. And then you do get double hinged knees, so you can bend the knee about that much there. And then with the feet, you do have hinges, so up and down movement. And you do have ankle pivot with these, which is nice. And then there are no peg holes on any of these figures. Now the Leonardo figure has the same type of articulation as Raphael, so I'm not going to go over it with that one. Moving on to Batman, he can turn his head to the left and to the right. He can look down a bit, and he can look straight ahead, but again, you really don't get any back movement. You do get some head pivot with Batman. And then with the arms, he can get his arm out about that much, and he can rotate there at the shoulder. He does not have a bicep swivel either. He only has a single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. And then you do get rotation there at the elbow. Again, with the hands, you get rotation, and then you've got those ball joints, so you do get up and down movement. He has a midsection joint, and this is where you get a little bit more movement with the DC figures over the turtle figures, because you can actually use this midsection joint. So you can see he can rotate there at the midsection. Really can't crunch forward. He can look back a little bit, though you do get some gappage there. You also get a waist swivel, and you get a little bit of pivot there. With the legs, you can do the splits that much. He can get his leg forward only about that much. Again, these shorts are separate pieces, and they limit some of that leg movement. And he can do his leg out and back. You do not get a thigh swivel. You get a double jointed knee, so he can bend his knee about that much. And then with the feet, you do get the hinges, back and forth movement, and you do get ankle pivot. And again, no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. And then Robin has the exact same movements as Batman, so I'm not going to go over it with him. I will note that the joints seem to be pretty sturdy on these figures. Even Robin, who has the thin arms and legs, you know, I'm not too worried about breakage on these. You know, so, you know, with the Robin, I might be a little more careful just because those are very thin joints. But again, they seem to feel pretty sturdy overall with these figures. Okay, so that's my review. And overall, I've got to say this is a pretty fun line in general. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you use these to replace other lines for these characters that you might collect, like NECA Toys turtle figures or DC Collectibles other DC-based figures. But if you're a fan of the movie they're based on, I think they've done a great job of capturing the likeness of these characters from that movie. I love the detailing on the turtle figures. You get some great accessories with these figures. Articulation could be a little bit better. That's probably where they're weakest, especially with the turtle figures. But again, I think this is a fun line, and if you're just into Turtles and Batman, or you love the movie, I think these are ones you're going to want to check out. Now, both of these sets are available now at GameStop stores. These are GameStop exclusives. We'll have a full image gallery up at Toy News Items. TMNTRaphael.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.